However, in your process, in cutting taxes, more programs are going back to the residents, such as the library, the Adam H, the school programs. So we're seeing an increase of 20–30% in the real estate taxes because of the cuts that are being made from the state level. So I wonder how you address, especially like the school.
You're saying real estate taxes. I don't understand what you're saying.
For instance, when you cut the funding to the libraries, they came to us asking for funds.
Yeah.
That goes on.
Who's us? You and City
The
Council?
citizens.
Okay.
The citizens.
Okay.
With the school system,
Right.
we're having major problems with seeing, funding being cut. They will come to the citizens.
Yeah, I got you. I got your
Real
answer.
estate
So how do you
taxes
deal with this?
and up.
Yes.
And
First,
especially
yeah.
with senior citizens,
What about the senior citizens?
with the real estate taxes.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let me say a bunch of things about that. First of all, if we don't lower our taxes, we're not competitive. We're the 7th highest tax state in America. And that's not just state, but it's local as well. Now, we have offered local governments plenty of tools to deal with fewer dollars. Shared services, we want to create a health pool where they would pool with a lot of people and lower their costs. And man, we've given them Senate Bill 5. And we're asking public employees to be in a position of where they pay a little bit more for their guaranteed benefit plan, which most Ohioans don't have. That saves them a ton of money. I would encourage local governments to start embracing these tools to support the budget, to get themselves in a position of where they can control their costs. Now, they can't say, we don't have enough money, but I don't want to control my costs, okay? They need to embrace it. And if they got other things that they would like to help them control their costs, we're more than willing to help them, give them those tools. That's number one. All government must become more efficient, all of them. Let's talk about the schools for a second. I can't tell you specifically about Dublin, but I can tell you about Ohio. The Dayton Daily News just ran a front page story. Ohio is in the bottom 10 in putting dollars in the classroom, and we're in the top 10 putting dollars in administration, overhead, and red tape. Now, how are you supposed to educate a kid when you're not getting dollars in the classroom? Where's it going? It's going to everything but that. So our schools, our communities, our cities need to become much more efficient, just like families do and just like businesses do. And we need to get dollars in the classroom, which means you have to take a hard look at the way in which your school districts are structured. Well, let me tell you another thing, ma'am. I don't think there's any district in Ohio. What's the number? There is no district in Ohio that's being cut by more than 7.9%, and most of them are under 5%. You hear what I'm saying? Most of them are under 5%. So the fact of the matter is, and we've given them the tools to be able to deal with the fact that they have fewer dollars. So they need to start being more effective in terms of embracing those tools and becoming much more efficient. Now, in terms of the libraries, this is the first time I've heard any squawking out of anybody from the libraries, because the libraries were pretty satisfied with what we did in our budget. But ma'am, I've got to tell you this. If we don't make choices, if we don't go on a diet that can lead us to a healthier tomorrow, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. There's no magic here. We are losing jobs because people say your costs are too high. If you don't lower your costs, you don't have any jobs. That's what we're trying to do. So everybody has to embrace this change. And part of the problem that we have today is that there are people some people, first of all, they're afraid of change. Secondly, they're afraid of it. Secondly, some of them just don't want any change. But the way we're going to get through this is everybody pulling together for the sake of our children, so that the future is better for us and our kids don't have to leave Ohio. That's what we're talking about here. So when you talk to somebody who's at the city or at the school, bring these things up to them. Maybe you ought to run for city council.